Hello there, YouTubers. It's kind of a yucky, cloudy, nasty day. I have a log on the mill. It's been on the mill for 4 or 5 days. We got an inch of rain yesterday, and it's just too soggy back here. You really can't see the soggy. And I still got a little bit of cleanup to do. So it's a good day to answer questions is what this is. I've had quite a few questions on different things, so I'm going to try to answer some of them. This log here, I already had ready to go. I was going to try to saw it the other day. That's my plan, but I'll go over that later. What I'm going to do is roll this log off the mill. I'll put it back here. So we're going to be answering questions about the set works. Oh, before I do that, one of the questions they asked me, what am I looking for when I look over the top of the mill? You'll see me come down here, and what I'm doing is trying to see if this is up against here. If not, you might want to use this taper attachment. That's what those are. Another thing on this movie, while I think about it, I get really out of order. You want to go up and watch Mark at Bus Motor Productions, I believe I'm so forgetful. He has a real nice Edmondson, pretty fully automatic mill. I mean, it is nice. I know a lot of people come over here because he recommended here, but if you don't know of that place, that's a place. He is an excellent sawyer. He goes through logs faster than you can blink. But he's got little buttons he presses that helps him do that. And one of the buttons he has is, and you'll see him mess with it a lot, is a taper attachment. Now see down here, there's a gap here. I can't really tell what's showing up on the screen. There's a gap here. And as all that is this log is narrower down at this end than it is that end, and you want to cut basically as straight as possible. Now I know this log is an inch wider down there than up here, so I took a 1/2 inch of taper. So I'm splitting the taper half here and half there, and that's what this does here. This takes that taper attachment out. Now the next thing you see me do, sometimes after I saw a log, I'll cut, say if I'm cutting this cut and this cut, and then I want to roll it 180 and do this cut and this cut. Well, when I roll this, I want to make sure that this edge here is up against all these. I think he calls them, I don't know, I always called them L's. I think he calls them knees. I don't know the proper name. He's a lot more knowledgeable than I am. We always called them L's, maybe because I want to roll this log off and you'll see what it looks like an L. But anyhow, I want to make sure that they're not at an angle to, I'll call them L's or knees, whatever. So the log goes flat against this piece all the way down. So then the next thing are these dogs. Ouch, it bit me. Every now and then they do that. Once again, they're spring loaded. They got a ratchet and they're spring loaded. But see the taper? This taper, if you're off by a little bit down here, that taper's meant to pull the log toward this L to make it tight against there. So if you're only missing by a hair, you can generally pull this in and they'll pull the log in. So that's, I think, maybe why they're tapered. Anyhow, I'm trying to get to the set work. So I'm going to roll the log off. You can see I got my, as I always do, got my mark in the middle. So I'm going in here and I'm just going to roll it off. I got to put you in the stand to roll it off. It'll only take a minute. There you're in the stand. I guess the one way back here is a little further away than I thought. Oh, Lordy. I should have undone it before I rolled it back. I had the sawmill and its doghouse in there when the rain came, so it's not wet, which is a good thing. I've got to put these little boards on it to roll it off. Sometimes these are good, sometimes they're not so good. Also, I don't want the log to roll off when I'm playing here. So it should roll back in at about the same position. That's the only thing that I'm faster. That's the only thing that this mill's faster than Mark's. When I want to roll a log up, he's got the chain drive. See how fast I can roll these up pretty fast. So I knew I could get it up out of the way. I think that's the only thing I can probably do one a little faster than him, but I wouldn't swear to it. He's pretty good, but He just presses a button, that log rolls up. So with this movie's on, I'm gonna move the carriage down too. It's a nice light little carriage. Hopefully it'll roll pretty easy so we can see where it's at. What I'm doing on is the set works. I got to get my piece of paper. I already lost that. Here it is. Set works. This is a B model set works, to the best of my knowledge. Okay, and when you pull it up here forward, it brings the log in. See? That brings the log in. Every one of those little clicks that you hear, you got your this is keep it locked in from going backwards, and that pulls it forward. There's 4 pawls, and each one of them pulls a 32nd of an inch. So every click you hear, all those are 32nd of an inch back. I'll see if I can't zoom in. You can see the locking dogs. Now watch this. And when you go back, it's a 32nd of an inch. That's what that is. So this B model set works. Now the older set works, in order to make the log go back or the L's go back, because normally your log isn't supposed to be going back, but every now and then you get in that position. And to make those go back, you used to have to push this lever up here back. And then the B model set works took care of that. So I got a handle up here. Now it has four detents in it for 4 different positions. I'll see if I marked it on the other mill. When we go here, then I'm going to go down to the other mill. I don't know whether you can see this. I'm as close as I can get. There's 4 detents in this. You really can't see them on this mill at all. But the other mill, you can see them. I'll try to run it through the positions, and then when we're done answering questions here, we'll run down to the other mill. If you see, there's your one position. That's to pull to a short pin. There it is. There's long pin and a short pin. Okay, if you put the short pin in there, and then you put the long pin in here, if you want a certain length board, in the first position, you pull that. See? Now in the second position, I heard it click, but it doesn't stay in as good as the one up in the front. That's supposed to go, if that's in the right spot, it should go down and hit the pin, the second pin. Whoops. See how it hits the second pin? It goes over the top pin and hits the second pin. So if I wanted to pull 1-inch boards, then all of a sudden I saw where I could get a good 2-inch board out of it, then that's what you'd go for. Then the third position, if it's clicking right, I'm trying to see where I'm at here. It should go, well, I got to go back some, come get too far out. Now I'm all the way back. But you get one position goes over everything. So if you're just pulling the head blocks, if you're just pulling the head blocks, well, I gotta go back out. That goes, so you're not just pulling 1 inch at a time. See, if you just see how that goes over the short and long pins. So if you want to pull it up fast. Now they also got power receders that make these L's go back. You can see why I always called them L's. That's where I learned them at. See, they look like an L. But I imagine the real name is knee, because Mark's pretty smart. Anyhow, that's what those pins do. So now this set works here. Maybe I can get over on this side. It's getting a little tired. This came out of a different mill. It has lead Babbitt bearings down in here. That's what that is right there. And you'll see if I pull it up. Now I got to climb on top of this thing. And you'll see all the slop in this. See this rack wobbling here? Well, that could cause you to set off a 32nd of an inch, which is, you know, it's just the way it is. I'll show you how they compensate for it. So that's the play that I want to take out. Another place where there's a lot of play, I'll take you off the stand for a minute. Another place where there's a lot of play is up in these, see these here? See these, they're just holes with loops. See all the play in there? Now, the old ones had a double loop right there. I've already put a swivel in there to take some of the play out of that. So I don't have any loss there, but you still have all this play here. That's why it's kind of hard hitting those detents down there. Now another thing that's on these that not many people know about, I can't get around there too. We'll show you that on the next mill, because I'm gonna go from here down to that mill. Okay, it's got four detents on it. Okay, so one comes, hits the pin, next one goes over the short pin and stops on the long pin, the next one comes over all pins so you can come forward, and the next one is reverse. Some of these have power receders, so you step on a big 1.5-inch thing down here and it'll make that set works go backwards or forwards, but those are pretty complicated, and I don't really, I've never used one, don't really think I want to use one. I'm not planning on putting one on in any of my mills here. Seems to me it's just something else to trip over. Let's see, way supports, that's something. Those pawls catch on 1/32 of an inch, so like I said, if you're moving left or right a 1/32 of an inch, by the time you go back and it loses a 1/32 of an inch, then you come forward to your pin and you lose another 1/32 of an inch. The next thing you know, you're starting to get there. So I've covered that. I've covered the taper on the dogs. Okay, what I'll lean over, the taper on the head blocks. Maybe I didn't do that good. I started showing the taper on the head blocks. Okay, generally when I bring a log up, this is the #1 head block. I like the short side of the log at the front, so I don't have to go walking from here all the way down there to set the taper. So I try to bring the short smaller end of the log here. If you have a saw like Mark's, he's got buttons, so he doesn't have to worry about walking down there. He can just hit it from his little cab, which is just, that thing's just a nice mill he's got up there. Like I said, go see him if you don't see him. I think I've kind of gone over everything I wanted to go over here. We're going to run down. There's three little shims in the back there that I wanted to show you, but I haven't got to that. So I'm trying to think what else I got. Taper on the head blocks, what I'm looking over for. Somebody was asking me for some of the supports on the mill. Okay, here on the log side, here I got one there, 2 there, 3 there, 4 there, 5 there, 6. So I have 6 on this side. When you get down to the other side, I spaced them out a lot further. If you watch some of the movies, when you're flipping a log and it goes down and it hammers down on this bed right here, okay, some of those logs are probably 2,000–3,000 pounds. When that hammers down, believe it or not, it drives these down. So that's one thing that you got to keep in mind. You don't want to be able not to put shims underneath this thing. I could put shims under this. Here I have little racks that I can move that track anywhere I want. So when you get a track and ways, you know, a lot of these people, you see these 15-foot pieces of track, and all they have is one support down here at the very front where it goes onto the mud sill, and sometimes they'll have one in the middle. That's a 7.5-foot run, and then down there they're going to have another one, so that's another 7.5 foot. What Frick gave you for that was just to hold the track. It wasn't meant to support a log. If you find, I have a Frick how to set up a sawmill, and they have a support every 2 foot. That's what they want. And I've redone a lot of mills that had problems because they just didn't have enough support on them. They only had one every 7 feet or every 10 foot or something like that. Their ways down here to hold the track, okay, were not meant to support a log. They were meant to keep the track parallel with the back piece of the track and give you thing to make it straight. You're supposed to build a good foundation under it if you want to saw good logs. You could get away with doing it if you're sawing little stuff probably, but you know, it's, what do you want to do? So I think that does it here. We're going to run down to the other mill and just go over those 3 shims in the back. So I covered the support. I would put, if I was building a mill, I'd put a lot of support on this side, which is what I have. Okay, now we're going to jump on the boda, because I don't know how to pause for a minute. It's probably going to take a minute to get down there and show you some more stuff on the other mill, because it's easier to get to and see. So bear with me. Here we go. It is muddy. Yeah, big puddles of mud there, or water. I don't know if we've ever gone this trip back that way. You can see the trails from how sticky it is here. Little puddles there. Woo, kind of a bumpy ride here. I didn't bring the tripod, so you might have to deal with a shaky old man. As long as I don't slip, I'll be all right. You can see the gushy mud. Here's a washout from the past, but it's been here for a while. More. Here it's real soupy. I thought this was going to be a short one, but I have a problem making short ones. I jabber too much and I lose track of what I'm talking about. But I meant to get a sawtooth. Okay, I want to show you a sawtooth first. I'm going to try to focus in on it. I don't know whether, if you can see, I'm trying to hold it as still as I can. They're tapered. Okay, now this is the number 1 mill. Here's the set works. You can probably see that this is you can hear the clicks a lot better. See the detents I have marked there? Click, click, click. And you can see now, okay, that's your, to the 1. I'm trying to see where, that's over the short pin, that's over this long pin, that's reverse. So that's how that works. But these back here, I can't make that go up. These are three little shims that go in, okay? Now, you probably want to start out here or here. What these do is compensate for a couple things. As you're following your teeth down, okay, it would get narrower and narrower, so the width of your board would change. So these are also at 30/2 of an inch. So you have 3 30/2 of an inch play in here. So when you got a new tooth in there, you might want to have, say, all these in so it doesn't ratchet as far, or maybe it has to ratchet further. I'll get this messed up. But anyhow, so it ratchets at a different, it makes a different amount of stroke on the ratchet. That's what it's, and it's to compensate for, to the best of my knowledge, the width of your teeth, because as you start filing those teeth down, they get narrower and narrower, which is going to change your kerf of hair, which is something that you want to, I guess they wanted to compensate. If they're sawing 8 hours a day on one of these mills, that would make a difference. I don't saw enough that it really makes that much difference to me, and it's rough cut lumber. The next thing on this mill, we put a great big U-joint on here to take care of that. And remember those loops on the other one? We put these swivels. Then the other thing we did on this mill to make it better is we got bronze. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a bronze oilite bushing there's in here. That's on the yoke. That's on this yoke part here. There's one on the other side. And you can see when I grab up here, see there's no play in that, in this set works at all. Now this set works here, I think they call a C, Model C set works, but the only difference that I know of is this here is 2-inch, where the other ones, I don't remember the I think it's, I just don't remember what it is. But anyhow, oh, you can also see, I'm backwards, but you might be able to see, these all have different sizes on them. You very often can't see those, but I guess you can see them, but you're upside down. And these pins, you know, you got the short pin and you got the long pin. Oh, another thing that I did on the back mill, which I haven't sawed on this one, so I don't do it. I put numbers out here, and then I have a chart. So if I have a real wide board that if I want to cut 4-inch boards, then I'll just pull to the pin maybe twice or 3 times, and you know what you're going to get. I could go over that later if somebody's interested in it. But anyhow, you can hear the clicks in this one a lot better than the clicks in that one. Old mill's getting dirty. Anyhow, that we're going to call that. I covered the set works. I covered the little shims in the back. I covered the 4 detents. The 4 detents here. I covered the taper attachments on this one. Covered the taper attachments. I covered the angles on the dog. I covered keeping your boards up flat on the L or on the knee. I'm trying to think. I think I got everything covered. That's what it looks like on this mill here. That's what it looks like. We'll just give a couple shots. I hope to get this going this year, but I don't know. Some of the things I gotta do is I gotta raise all these wheels and take some shims out of them. I gotta pull, because I know everybody's gonna ask, why aren't you running this mill? I gotta pull all these beds. Now I know this piece here is being the bed. So first you got to pull the L's off or knees off. So I got to pull 4 of these off. Then after I pull those 4 off, then I have to pull. There's 8 beds here. I got to pull the back 4 off. I got to pull the back 4 off, and then I got to get this front part working, and everything's just not lining up the way I want it to line up. So then I got to pull on the axles. I don't know if you remember, Mark pulled and changed his axles. I don't have to pull and change the axles, but I got to take the carriage up and pull there's some shims down up underneath here. I got to pull all those shims out and see where it's at. So there's a lot of big heavy work. But it's coming along. I hope to saw. There's also, I've mentioned it in the past, there's another saw that goes on this one here. There's a top saw that goes on this saw, and it's in a ball-on. So this will have a saw here, and it'll have a saw up here. And I got all that contraption. I just don't have it hooked up. Anyhow, that's enough for this one. We'll see you later. Bye.